This is a story called The Little Monsters, Chapter 88. The kids go camping alone. It's half term and the kids have 2 whole weeks of school and they're trying to find something to do but they can't think of anything. Then Stampy said, "I know guys, why don't we ask our parents if they'll take us camping?" "Yeah, let's do that," said Stumpy. All of their parents were at Bumpy's house for a barbecue, and when they asked them to take them camping, they said no because they had to work. The kids were very disappointed, but then Stumpy had an idea. "I know guys, we could go camping by ourselves and our parents don't need to know." "That's a great idea, Stumpy. We can all go and get our camping things now and take them to the secret hideout," said Stampy. "Yeah, but what will we tell our parents? They're all here at my house," said Bumpy. "We'll wait until tomorrow and then you guys can tell your parents that I'm having a sleepover. And I'll tell my parents that Stumpy's having a sleepover," said Kicker. The kids went and got all of their camping gear and took it to the hideout. The next day the kids told their parents that Kicker was having a sleepover, and Kicker told their parents that Stumpy was having a sleepover. Then they got all their stuff together and rode their bikes to the campsite that they wanted to stay at. They only took Kicker's tent because it was big enough for all of them. When they got there, they set up the tent and then they went to look around the campsite to see what was there. As they were doing so, they found a huge indoor water park with massive water slides, but it was closed as it was almost 9 p.m. They found a huge play park, a skate park, bike tracks, indoor play area and family club and lots of pubs and nightclubs. However, just as they decided to play on the play park, it started to rain, so they went back to the tent and played games until the early hours, and then they went to bed. The next morning when the other campers left their tents, the kids went round putting their whoopee cushions in people's beds. Then they went to the indoor water park for a few hours. When they left there, they took their wet things back to the tent and then they went for some lunch. After lunch they went to look around again and they found a huge shopping park and they went in to look around. They all had around £300 each, which was the pocket and chore money that they'd all saved up. They bought some new clothes, board games, food and other stuff such as nice cushions for their hideout. After a few hours they took everything they'd got back to the tent, had some tea and then they went to the play park and played for a couple of hours. Then they went back to the tent, got ready and went to the family club. However, they knew that they wouldn't be allowed in on their own because they weren't old enough, so they went in behind some adults and pretended to be with them. Whilst they were in the club, they went round sneakily drinking any alcoholic drink they could and putting fat gas in people's drinks. They stayed there until the club closed around midnight and then they decided to sneak into a nightclub. They stayed there for about an hour and a half and then they went back to their tent and slept. The next morning when the other campers left their tents, the kids went round and got their whoopee cushions back and then they put pin cushions in all of the other campers' beds. When they were in some of the tents, there was alcohol in some of them and outside them too. They took it and put it in their tent, but they only took the stuff from outside the tents. Then they decided to hang around the big shopping park. When anyone came out of the shops with alcohol and put their bags down, the kids took it and then they took it back to their tent and then they had lunch. After lunch they did the exact same thing again. By the time they'd finished they had 10 bottles of wine, 8 boxes of lager, 6 boxes of bitter, 6 bottles of Baileys and 6 bottles of whiskey. Once they dropped everything off at their tent, they went to the water park again. After about 3 hours, the kids went to a cafe and had some tea. After they'd had their tea, they rang their parents and told them that Bumpy was having a sleepover. Bumpy told her parents that Stampy was having a sleepover. Once they'd finished talking to their parents, they went to the skate park for an hour or so. Then they went back to their tent, got ready, and then went to the family club for a bit. This time they just went in without being seen. When they left there, they went round the local pubs and clubs drinking every bit of alcohol that they could. About 2 a.m. they decided to go back to their tent. They drank some more and then they went to bed. The next day it was raining, so they spent the day in the arcades and at the indoor water park, and then they went back to their tent. They'd already had their dinner and tea because they'd eaten out. That night they rang their parents and told them that Creeper was having a sleepover. Creeper rang her parents and told them that Grumpy was having a sleepover. And then they went to the family club again. This time they got there about 7 p.m. and stayed until about 10 p.m. and then they left and sneaked into one of the pubs. When the staff were busy, the kids sneaked behind the bar and helped themselves to as many bottles of lager as they could, drank some and put the rest in their backpacks. Then they went on to the next pub and did the same thing there. When they left there, they went on to a nightclub, but when they got there, they spotted someone they knew and quickly left. They then went on to the next nightclub and sneaked in. The place was heaving and the staff were incredibly busy, giving them plenty of time to sneak behind the bar and help themselves to some booze. They put some in their backpacks and then they went round drinking as many drinks as they could, and then they went back to the tent. However, what the kids didn't realise was that the lady they saw in the first nightclub had seen and recognised them and followed them, and then she phoned their parents. The next day the kids were on their way to the indoor water park when Kicker's dad pulled up in his car and told them all to get in. The kids refused and ran off, and they didn't return to the campsite until about 7 p.m. When they got there, their parents were in their tent waiting for them. They were smacked hard on their bums, grounded, and when they got home they were all sent to their rooms. Of course they didn't stay there. They climbed out their bedroom windows, met up at the hideout and stayed there overnight. They made sure that they were home before their parents got up, so that they wouldn't get caught. End of chapter 88.